Yo, what's up guys, it's NLW Figs here, back again with another video. Today, going to be giving you my thoughts and reactions to NXT War Games 2021. It was old versus new, 2.0 versus black and gold. Who would reign supreme? I'm about to tell you my thoughts on the whole event, but before I do, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed and comment down below what did you think of NXT War Games, and as always remember to subscribe to NLW Figs because in the lead up to Christmas I'm going to be uploading a video on this channel every day up to Christmas. But without further ado, let's get into the matches. And we'll start off with the Women's War Games match. It was team of Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez, Io Shirai, Cora Jade and their partner Kaylee Ray. Now I liked the setup that they had with the two teams being placed up in the rafters, and they both have to kind of run down and get to the cage. That was a pretty cool idea. So we start off with Dakota Kai and I believe it was Kaylee Ray, two great workers. They're doing cool stuff early on. At one point Dakota Kai puts like these kendo sticks on the slats or the ropes and uses it as a weapon. That was pretty cool. Next in we have Cora Jade, and Cora Jade is quite young, so I don't really know much about her, but she definitely impressed me in this one. Her selling was great and she had a lot of fire to her. For someone so young, I thought it was pretty impressive, especially, a lot of people on NXT 2.0 seem quite generic and she seems like she quite stands out, but I'll get to what she did later in the match in a moment. Next up we had Gigi Dolin, formerly Priscilla Kelly, and she's the one in this match who impressed me the most, really. She's one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, and even though Mandy Rose is the leader of their group, she's by far probably the best one in that group. She was really pulling out all the stops in this one, and I know it's weird to say, but a lot of her mannerisms kind of reminded me of Jon Moxley in a way. Anyway, next in we had from the opposing team Io Shirai, and she's a House of Fire as well, delivering moonsaults and whatnot. And next in is Jacy Jayde. Then we've got Raquel Gonzalez and also Mandy Rose to top things off. And this was quite fun. I liked a lot of the spots in this one. Mandy Rose, a lot of what she did seemed quite awkward in the match, and it kind of took me out of it just a little bit. There is one point, the best spot of the match by far is the move where Cora Jade's on the top and delivers a swanton through the table. Just a cool whiplash effect on that. Anyway, the story of the rest of the match is she's injured and the advantage is down for their team, and eventually Toxic Attraction tries to take advantage. However, they are thwarted when Jacy Jayde gets powerbombed by Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade pins her to win. So I thought it was a fun opener. I know a lot of people online I saw didn't really care for this match. I thought it was pretty good. There were some awkward moments though, and the kind of spot with Io putting the socket of Cora Jade back into place. That was quite fun. I like that. There were some awkward moments though, although I will say Cora Jade impressed me in this one. Gigi Dolin, you can say what you want about NXT 2.0. It does seem like the women's division is in good hands at least. But yeah, that said, it was a fun match. The spot with Cora Jade was fun, even if there were a couple of awkward moments. It's not the best women's takeover match ever, but I thought it was decent enough and set up a lot of potential feuds for the future, despite the awkward finish. Although another thing I will say about this match is the heels having, the disadvantage a lot of it. Seemed a bit of backward booking in my opinion, but that said, I thought the action was fun, so good stuff all round. Next up, the NXT Tag Team titles are on the line as Imperium defended against Kyle O'Reilly and this Von Wagner dude. I believe he used to be Cal Bloom, but you can correct me on that if you want. But yeah, Von Wagner, stupid name, and silly tights as well. I don't know what was going on there. This guy, not to kind of rag on him too much because he is new, but whatever. He is like the most generic wrestler probably I've ever seen. He gives me like Ruthless Aggression vibes, if you know what I mean, and not in a good way. And throughout this match, I'll get the negative out of the way first of all. Von Wagner did absolutely nothing of value, just kicks and clotheslines. I believe every time he went in the ring, the crowd was booing him, so not a great sign that Kyle O'Reilly has to kind of elevate this guy. But the stuff without Von Wagner was really fun. Like the opening bit was a bit slow, but once it kind of picked up steam and it was Kyle O'Reilly in there with the two Imperium lads, it was fantastic. Like at one point Eichner, the definite MVP of this match, stole the show, like a moonsault to break up a knee bar from Kyle O'Reilly, and then leaping to the top rope without any assistance and doing a frog splash kind of crossbody to the outside on Von Wagner was really good. It ends when Imperium, I can't remember exactly who they pin, I think it was Kyle O'Reilly, take him out and win the match and retain their tag titles. I would say Imperium's probably one of the most underrated teams, despite being the NXT Tag Team Champions. Every time they have a match, it seems, incredible, the stuff they pull out. And you know, it did feel again backwards booking kind of, because Von Wagner wasn't really doing a lot. He was doing quite heelish moves with like the clotheslines and stuff like that, whereas Aichner was the one kind of impressing the crowd, and Imperium were really, you know, MVPs. And you know what, also credit to Kyle O'Reilly, because also his selling is fantastic in this one too. Anyway, post-match smoz, Von Wagner, he tries to turn heel on Kyle O'Reilly, but gets flattened by Kyle O'Reilly instead, and he throws up the Undisputed Era signs, which was kind of an indication that he might be potentially leaving soon. I hope he does. I hope he joins AEW soon and joins back up with Cole and Fish. So even in defeat, Wagner looks like a dork. But yeah, aside from that, you know, not a massive fan of Von Wagner, but the other three put in a great performance and, you know, a really solid tag team match. One of my favourite matches of the night. Next up, who's getting their head shaved? Is it Cameron Grimes or Duke Hudson? Now, I'm a massive Cameron Grimes fan. Not really seen a lot of Duke Hudson to kind of judge him. You know, Von Wagner, he wasn't really doing a lot, but Duke Hudson, yeah, I can't really decide what's going on with him, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It is a slow match. It's alright, you know, it's decent stuff for what it is. It feels like a TV match, if you know what I mean. So not Wagner, he's still in my head. Hudson, he's kind of dominating Cameron Grimes, but Grimes is pulling out all the stops. There was one point where Grimes hit a standing Spanish fly, his Ticket to Ride, is it? Or something like that. I can't remember what his move is called. But yeah, Cameron Grimes, very athletic in this one. A couple of really insane counters, like the Razor's Edge into the Hurricane Rana, I was really digging. Ultimately though, it is Duke Hudson at one point, he tries to roll up Cameron Grimes, but the referee spots it, but then Grimes does the same thing, holds the tights, but it's 1, 2, 3, and Cameron Grimes is your winner. Duke Hudson has his head shaved, or at least we think, because Duke Hudson, he tries to get the clippers, but Cameron Grimes reverses him and eventually shaves a streak into Duke Hudson's head. So wondering what he's going to look like on Tuesday. This match wasn't really a lot going for it. It was quite fun though, you know, it's a decent TV match, went about 10 minutes, and Cameron Grimes, he can pull anything off because his character is so wacky and out there. So yeah, that's what NXT 2.0 needs, is you know, someone who's kind of established but also a bit of a character, you know, kind of get that balance of character and wrestling right, you know. Next up, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this match, speaking of character, because it's the NXT Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Roderick Strong of the Diamond Mine taking on Joe Gacy and his backup Parker Bordeaux, or whatever he's calling himself now. Yeah, so Gacy's character, not a big fan of it, you know, for a number of reasons, you know, on either side. There's a multitude of reasons why I don't like his character. Just comes across as annoying, and I get that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I don't want to see real life stuff brought into wrestling like that. That's kind of, you know, irritating. I don't know how to explain it, you know. And this goes for like whether you're like, you know, pro or anti, whatever. It's just, I just find it annoying. I don't want to see kind of the real life issues kind of mixed in with wrestling. It just puts a bad taste in my mouth. So again, it's like heel versus heel as well, and it's difficult to get into. Roderick Strong pretty much dominates most of this match. It's not a squash, but doesn't really do a lot. There is one point where Parker Bordeaux, I'm just going to call him that because I don't know what they called him on commentary, lifts up the woman with the Diamond Mine. Again, I'm not too familiar with 2.0, so don't shoot me if I don't know the names. And then Gacy's like, no, put her down. And yeah, then a backbreaker, and Roderick Strong retains. There are rumours that they're going to do away with the Cruiserweight title, which would be a shame, although at this point, is there much Cruiserweight wrestling left in WWE? I don't know. It's just a shame to see how far the title, well, not that the title was kind of out on pedestal before, but there were decent matches before, and now it's a bit, you know, gimmicky with Joe Gacy being over the weight limit, kind of challenging. You know, it's a little bit of an interesting angle, but at the same time, I just hope that, you know, Roderick Strong can kind of move on and do something else now, put on matches, you know, of substance really, and that's one of the main problems I've got with 2.0. Even though NXT, the original NXT, kind of focused too much maybe on matches. The matches were fantastic, but maybe lacked a bit in character. I don't think the characters on NXT 2.0 for the most part are clicking, and the wrestling is also suffering as a result, so it doesn't really make for that much of an entertaining product. Yeah, but that's just me. I'll get more into it as we go on. And your main event, it is the men's War Games match. It is Team Black and Gold versus 2.0. You've got Johnny Gargano, the NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa, Pete Dunne and LA Knight, taking on the team of Bron Breakker, Carmelo Hayes, Tony D'Angelo and Grayson Waller. Now I had to record that a couple of times because I forgot what their names were. And again, that's another issue with 2.0, is that, you know, the names, I know they're supposed to build these guys up, but they don't really, the names aren't sticking, if you see what I mean. They're all quite generic, and yeah, for instance, like Bron Breakker, just call him Rex Steiner. He looks like a Steiner, he talks like a Steiner. It's just silly to me, but it is what it is. Anyway, the start of this match, I will tell you, Carmelo Hayes really impressed me in this one. Haven't really seen much of his work, but a very fluid motion with Johnny Gargano, kind of reminded me of the old takeovers. So they're trading moves, and next in Grayson Waller, who dresses coincidentally like my creator wrestler from when I was a kid. He is exactly what I would have pictured myself being as a wrestler in, for good and for bad, with the jorts and the gloves and stuff. That was my whole whole aesthetic if I was going to be a wrestler when I was a kid. So again, Grayson Waller, he seems quite generic. I don't really know much about him. He does a couple of cool things in the match, but nothing to really like stand out, if you see what I mean. So weapons are brought in as we go along. It really picks up when Pete Dunne comes in, because he has such like an aggression that he brings to the table, and he's very interesting with his maneuvers. So for instance, he'll use the cage to his advantage when he pulls the fingers through the cage mesh on Grayson Waller and kind of stamping on the fingers and using the kendo stick to his advantage. So really brings more of a vicious side to this War Games match. And Johnny Gargano also gets busted open partway through this match. Tony D'Angelo is the next person to come in, but throughout this match he really doesn't do anything until the end, which I'll get to. But yeah, he doesn't really do a lot. He brings in a couple of tables and a couple of weapons, and then in the meantime LA Knight comes down. He's trying to get in the cage, but it's been bolted shut, so he ends up climbing over, and LA Knight, like a house of fire, running wild on all the competition. Bron Breakker comes in, does Steiner things, suplexes and the like, and then finally the NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa comes in, and War Games has officially started, and these guys are just battering each other. There's one point where Gargano torpedoes Carmelo Hayes into a trash can. There's another point where LA Knight springs to the top rope and delivers a overhead belly to belly through the table, which looked gnarly. I also can't remember exactly what point in the match it was, but Grayson Waller at one point goes to the top rope and delivers an elbow drop through a table. That looked cool. Tony D'Angelo pulls out the mouth guard of Pete Dunne, which looked nasty, and then delivered kind of the twisting neck breaker with the crowbar, which I thought was cool, even if it was like the only move he really did in this match. The ending sequence sees DIY put on multiple submissions at the same time on the guys, and then you have a moment where it looks like Ciampa's going to hit the fairy tale ending through the table on Carmelo Hayes. However, Bron Breakker, steaming through, spears Ciampa through the table, lifts him up, power slam, 1, 2, 3. Bron Breakker pins the NXT champion, and you have to believe that they'll probably have a title match at New Year's Evil. So yeah, the Team 2.0 win. There wasn't really any doubt about that, because obviously they're going to try and build these guys up as the future. It did make me miss the old NXT though, watching these guys, because there is a very clear discrepancy between the popularity of the Black and Gold team and the 2.0 team, and also kind of the skill level of both of them. But that is understandable with the inexperience, you know, and stuff like that, and I get that you've got to build these guys up before they can really be kind of household names. But even then, like, I thought the old NXT was fine at producing new stars. I don't know why go for this rebrand. Maybe it's just a company ethos thing, but it's not really my thing personally. But it is what it is. This great main event was fantastic. Definitely the MVPs of this one were Gargano and Pete Dunne. They did a lot, and Ciampa as well. Like, it did, I don't know if it hurt having the 2.0 guys in there with these sort of established stars, because on the one hand it helped them kind of learn to be in this big match situation, but on the other hand it kind of exposed them as not really ready to take the reins, in my opinion, because the Black and Gold team had a lot more interesting characters going into it, and a lot more interesting sort of traits to them. You know, the other team kind of looked a lot like creator wrestlers in a way, but that said, still a fun match, and I thought the 2.0 team more than held their own in this one. And Bron Breakker, you know, steamrolling his way through the main event scene. You got to believe he's going to be NXT champion sooner than later. I want to briefly touch on the futures of Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly. They both seem to have send-off-ish moments in War Games. You had Johnny Gargano with all his previous takeover gears, as well as Kyle O'Reilly kind of throwing up the Undisputed Era hand signs. I don't know if those were just Easter eggs to kind of tease leaving. I'm not sure if they're going to stay. I'm not quite sure what the kind of headspace for either of them is. I would think it would be more likely for Johnny Gargano to stay than Kyle O'Reilly, although why Gargano would sign just a 1-week contract extension, I don't know. I believe that they're both leaving. I would like them to both go to AEW. I know that's kind of cliche to say, but Gargano can have kind of those indie matches over there, and you can also have Kyle O'Reilly be in a position with Bobby Fish and Adam Cole. It makes more sense for Kyle O'Reilly to jump over, although I do think that Gargano would be fine on the main roster. I know a lot of people from NXT haven't succeeded as well, but I think, you know, if he can regain some control and get a lot of money from going to the main roster, I'd say go for it maybe, but I don't know, because obviously Candice LeRae still there too. But honestly, whatever they both do, I'm happy for them if they continue to get that bag, you know, so whatever. Although selfishly, I hope they both go to AEW. So overall, War Games was a fine show. It wasn't really a great show or a good show. No, it was a fine show, you know what I mean? Both War Games matches were fine, they were decent. The main event was pretty good. The opener, it was a bit ropey at times. The tag team match was great once it got going, apart from, you know, Von Wagner's involvement. The other two matches, not really much to say about them. I like Cameron Grimes, although it's just a standard match. And the Joe Gacy, Roderick Strong thing wasn't really my cup of tea, but I can understand if you might have enjoyed it, I'm not sure. But it was a fun show, probably not worth going out your way to see, other than the main event. But that is it for NXT 2.0 War Games. What would I say about NXT 2.0 as a whole though? I'm not sure. I want to do kind of a full-length video at some point, kind of going over my thoughts on NXT 2.0, because it's quite an interesting topic. Obviously I miss the old NXT, but there are some things about the new NXT I like. You know, the kind of branding, it's not really for me, not really aimed at me as a wrestling fan. But I can understand if you enjoy it, that kind of thing. But that is it for War Games. Let me know what you thought of War Games in the comments below. And did you predict all of the matches? And what do you think is the future of Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly and the future of NXT 2.0? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to NLW Figs for more wrestling figure content. Going to be uploading a video every day for the rest of this month. That is it from me. Thank you for watching and I'll catch you guys later.